Hi, hello. Welcome to the beginning of a hopefully productive evening vlog. It's like 4:30. I was slightly productive at the beginning of the day, but I have kind of been running into, what would you call it? Like overwhelm paralysis, I guess. I am someone who likes to do a lot of different things. As far as work goes, I'm a freelancer and I'm also a general creative, so I do a lot of different stuff. And while I love having the opportunity and being able to do so many different things for work, it does come with its own issues, including the fact that I have so many different things to do that sometimes it's overwhelming and difficult for me to actually pick one to start on. Because when I have like 4 different things that I could be doing for work right now, it just overwhelms me a bit. I'm learning how to organize and, I don't know, figure out a process for myself. A very flexible process though, because rigid processes don't generally work for me either. Chaos, utter chaos all the time. So I was semi-productive this morning, but it was also filled with a lot of like scrolling on social media and distracting myself by like everything else. So to kind of like reset myself, I went to the gym, which movement, right now, generally going for a run or going to the gym is kind of what I need to reset myself a little bit. So I've just finished at the gym. I'm feeling much better and I'm going to head home and start on some work. Tonight I have to do some development work for my main client, I guess. I also have to do some work for my own website, just to get some like updated projects and portfolio pieces up there. I also need to be doing a little bit of collecting footage for a YouTube video that I'm working on right now that is requiring a lot more time than my general everyday vlog or sit down video. There's a couple other things around the house that I will need to do. I also need to pick up potting soil because it's garden season, and if we want vegetables, we need soil to start the seeds. I will say though, in the fall, I planted 150 cloves of garlic in the hopes that we could have a garlic harvest for the house this year, and a lot of them came up. I'll show you the garden when I get back. Okay, this is enough talking. I'm gonna head home and get started on my work night. Okay, I pretty much finished everything that I needed to get done. I don't want to look at how close it is to midnight, but I think we're getting there. It's too late for me, basically. But I'm feeling good. I'm always like reminded of how grateful I am, and like I try to remind myself to be grateful that I can like not work all day if I want. Well, I still work today, but like if I wanted to, I could just not work all day. And then like work in the afternoon, for example, or just work a bit more the next day. So I am really grateful for the freedom that freelancing brings me, even though it has a lot of stresses. But yeah, I'm gonna go to bed so that I can get some decent sleep, and I will see you tomorrow.
Well, no, I mean, it's more like, I use it as like, I'm like, I know.
I'm sure my camera is absolutely hating the amount of sunlight here, but I am loving it, so I don't think I'm gonna move. We haven't gotten a lot of sun lately, so I feel like I need to take advantage of it while it's here. Okay, I moved because it was a lot of sun, to be fair. I've been messing around with my camera a lot over the past couple months, and I ended up having to like fully reset the settings on it last night. Like I basically reset all of the customized settings back to factory settings because a couple weird things were going on that I couldn't figure out what I changed and what was happening. And also my mic stopped working. I'm just hoping that this microphone is working now and that everything's okay. So I got up just before 6:30, rolled out of bed, drove over to the beach and did a lovely cold plunge this morning. We had a self-love meditation and then some Kundalini breath work, which was so wonderful. And then we did like a gratitude circle while we were doing the cold plunge. And I really love the community like that. Like the communities in Vancouver that want to go and do things outside and like do things like cold plunges and long hikes and stuff that's like kind of type 2 fun, I guess. Stuff that like sometimes isn't the most fun in the moment, but you know is like super beneficial for you and just like it really fills up my well to do stuff like that. So I'm so grateful that I live somewhere where there are so many people who want to get involved in those things. And I'm also so glad that I got up this morning to go and do it. So I did that this morning. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna work from home again today, but I mentioned it in the previous vlog. I think it's 21 pages of feedback as in the form of like a manuscript review for Between the Waves. So I'm gonna print those off so that I can start just reading through them and making notes. And then I have to do 4 to 6 hours, I would say, of my website work, potentially more. But it's going to be spread out today, I think. So, and I want to go to the gym again today and I want to make sure I'm taking care of myself. So we'll see. Let's get started. Okay, I have printed the manuscript critique. I'm very excited to get into it. I have a bit of time before I need to start work, and like I said, it's about 20 pages. So I'm gonna sit down and have a read through where I'm not allowed to like make any notes. I'm just gonna read it through once, see how I feel. And then I'm gonna read it through a second time, and then I will make notes and kind of like highlight pieces that I think resonate with like how I wanted the story to go. So yeah, first pass, we're just gonna read it through, see how we feel. I've gotten feedback like this before. I've done like beta reader feedback for Blood of Ambram a few years ago, but I've never gotten like a structured manuscript critique from an editor before, so this is really exciting. First pass, we're just gonna read it through, and then second pass, I'm gonna grab a highlighter and I'm kind of just gonna highlight any comments or notes or suggested changes and critiques that I think are going to make the story stronger while keeping it aligned with like how I wanted it to be told. I feel like I'm getting hit with a rainbow. So yeah, I'm gonna sit in my little like, I put my meditation cushion down underneath where the new shelves got put, and I feel like it's like a little Zen reading corner, I guess. So I'm gonna sit there, read through this, and then we're gonna start making notes and highlighting, and that's the plan so far. And then next step, we'll dive back in and actually start like making some action items, I guess. I'm a paragraph in. First comment is that she said that she liked this. I added like, she called it the bar spell. It's basically like an enchanted bar, if that makes sense, that serves people drinks based on what it thinks they want. And I'm glad that she said that that was entertaining because I really enjoyed writing about that. So anyways, off to a good start so far. I just wanted to hop on here with a voiceover because apparently my microphone is in fact still broken. It's still doing the weird thing. Don't know what happened, but I'll have to get a new one. But basically what I was saying here was that I read a compliment from the editor that really resonated with me and kind of like, I don't know, reminded me of why I'm a storyteller, and also reminded me of like the way that I want to share my storytelling and creativity on YouTube. And she said that I had a strong story instinct. That was a compliment that she said about something in particular, but it kind of throughout the feedback, she complimented like parts of my creativity that I find really valuable in storytelling, like my story instinct, as well as like having very creative ideas. I think that it was just nice to get a compliment like that because I have a habit of trying to apply more mathematical, structured concepts to my creativity, and I know that I have to do that a little bit just because if I want to finish books and if I want them to be well structured and thought out, I have to apply that kind of logical thinking. I think that sometimes I overdo it and I start to view my manuscript as a bad book or a bad story because I'm not doing certain technical things correctly, or I'm not doing them as well as I possibly could. So a couple of the compliments that she gave me in the manuscript just reminded me that I know I'm someone who is good at pulling out the soul of the story. I have to remind myself sometimes that just because I'm learning to be a better technical storyteller does not mean that I'm not already really good at the creative part of storytelling, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I was chatting about here, because it's nice to be reminded of that and remind myself that as long as I have the instinct and the soul of the story, then the technicality will come, the skills will come. I'll figure out the best way to write it for the world, but having the story is what matters. That's basically what I was telling you when my microphone cut out. So this editor that I'm working with, her name is Teresa. She is from Root Depth Editorials, which I will leave linked down below because I just finished reading through the manuscript critique. It was wonderful. I've never had like a professional editor before look at my work. Everything that she mentioned is genuinely so helpful. And getting towards the end of the manuscript critique, where she was kind of describing some suggestions and like pointing out some flaws or plot holes or like things that need to be fixed, was genuinely so reassuring, because I know that I want this series to be a duology, and I know generally quite a few of the things that I want to happen in the second book, and kind of like what threads are going to be kept open in order to lead into that. And also, this was the second draft and I had already started writing the third draft, but I didn't get very far into it, which is why this is the one that I got the developmental edit on. But it was just like so reassuring, because so many of the things that she suggested or had comments on were things that aligned with like how I wanted to change this draft already, like getting into the third draft. And then there was just so many like valuable suggestions, and there were a bunch of situations and comments in this critique that kind of aligned with how I wanted things to change, but like also offered solutions, I guess, and offered really great suggestions for how I can actually get to those changes, which is what I was struggling with. That's why draft 3 was just really not going anywhere, because I knew what I wanted to change and I had a general idea of the trajectory that I wanted those changes to take, but I was like missing steps and pieces and ways to do that. And there were also some really key comments that reminded me of like why I started writing this story. The fact that like she has seen where I'm trying to go with it without me having to tell her. Like, I really didn't give her much information on the second book because I was still all over the place with it. So the fact that like her suggestions aligned with where I wanted the second book to go, it just is reassuring that obviously somehow I had written into this story enough hints at where I wanted to go that she picked it up, which is really reassuring for me because when this draft just got to the point that when I was reading it, I almost didn't know where I was going anymore. Like I knew, I was like, oh, I think this is where I want to go for draft 3, but I don't think I'm doing a good job of it, and I don't think anyone will pick up on that. I'm very excited, and I don't know, the way that she described things towards the end of the manuscript critique and the way that she was talking about like the next steps and where I can go with this, I don't know, I had myself like a little bit of a cry, tears of joy almost, because it's just been a long time since I had like solid faith in this book. I knew that I had to tell the story. Like I knew that I had to get it somewhere. Having faith that the story can be great and knowing that there's a reason that you're writing it, it sometimes feels very like flighty. It feels intangible, I guess. So having someone look at it externally and go through and give a critique on it and seeing that they can also see the spark of the story, or the soul of the story as I call it, was just like so validating. And at the end of the day, the characters were the issues, which I kind of knew, but I also know that characters are what really keeps me entangled with a story, and I knew that that was where I was struggling with this one, and the suggestions that she gave me have provided so much clarity around what I was doing wrong with the characters, and it just makes so much sense. My next step is to read it again, and I'm going to highlight what pieces I definitely need to work in this next draft, and I'm also going to do a bit of a restructure and set up a structure for book 2, because this also kind of like sparked some new ideas for book 2 that will just tie things in so much better. Like we'll just do a really good job of that. But I also have 5 minutes until my work meeting, so I am going to do that, and then I'll go into here because I'm really excited about it. So I've kind of gone through and I've done 2 colors of highlighting. The blue is for the characters and the yellow is for the plot. I'm trying to keep my drafts organized so that I'm not trying to take on too much at once. So I've started with like the characters and with a focus on Amaya, the main character, as well as a couple minor things that need to be changed with other characters to kind of like better align with how Amaya is going to change. So I've made notes of that, and then I've also made notes of plot changes that are going to happen as a result of Amaya's character changing, which that just feels super promising because I want to focus on character-driven plots. I think that's what makes a really good story. That's what has made my favorite stories my favorite stories. So although there are like plot changes on here that I want to fix for draft 3, or I want to rewrite or add, they are the result of Amaya becoming a stronger character and a result of Amaya's character changes driving the plot more. So that's really exciting. Like it's exciting to be able to see how you're going to change the main character and then have like a direct ripple effect of how that changes the plot, because it's like encouraging that this is becoming a more character-driven plot. So yeah, I think the next steps for me are going to be to just go through the notes that I've made for Amaya as a character. I also have a couple questions that I need to answer that the editor pointed out in the critique. I need to finish collecting these notes from this current read-through, and then I think the next step is to just make a plan for draft 3 and see how we can start getting into a draft 3, but like another version of draft 3, I guess, but one that is like more aligned to the changes that I wanted to make. Anyways, I'm going to end the vlog here because I've been very chatty, but I wanted to thank all of you for watching and for being on this journey with me. And yeah, I'll leave the editor link down below as well so that you can check her out and any resources that she has. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you in the next one.